Hey Isaiah, it's me. So I want to explain more about belong to, and this is the way I think of it. So we only have 15 minutes to do this, so let me just explain it out. What I want to do is essentially let me go back. So belongs to means that one object belongs to another object, right? Great. For this instance, we're going to actually create a owner object and we're going to create an owner. We're going to create like I don't care. I'm just going to say pet shop and all this nonsense, but it doesn't make sense. What I want to essentially do is this. I want pets to belong to an owner, right? Great. So, an owner has a pet. And so what I want to do is essentially step one, create an owner object, which has an owner's name. And honestly, that's all I care is the owner's name. So so when we do that, essentially what I want to do is that when we have the owner, let's say Ruth is the owner, and we save that owner, then when I say Ruth.name, it will give me my name. We'll say full name. That's essentially what I want. So Ruth.name, then I could actually, when I say Ruth.full name, it will give me Ruth Messman. That's what I want. So what I would do here is create the class owner, and right. So I want it to essentially create this. I want it to do Ruth.full_name. So when I do this, I'm able to, one, write out the name of the owner, but then call out that name of the owner, right? So essentially, if we did it old school way, all I would be doing is this. If I was doing old school way, name, and at full name equals name, because that is a class variable, and then define full name. We're calling that class variable. Alright, so let's see if this works. Alright, so I will call this class, Ruth is the variable, calling this class owner.new. Alright, and then we can see that it works because it initialized an owner object or instance of that object. So then Ruth.full name is Ruth Messfun. Great. And looks like it works. Well, let's see if it did. Full name, Ruth Messfun. Alright, so it did exactly what we wanted it to do. Now, a shortcut is using the attr accessor, attr writer, or attr reader, right? here's the trick of knowing when to use either one. Now you have here, and I might have confused it. So if you're like, wait a minute, that's not true, you're probably right. Sorry. If you have a reader only and not a writer, then you do adder reader. If you have a writer only, which is this, and not a reader, then you do an adder writer. If you have both, then you do an adder accessor. So we have both. And there you go. That means we could delete this. Let's see if this works. New. Okay, creates an instance of an object. Alright. So far it's looking good. Alright, it works. Awesome. So, now you're probably wondering, why didn't you do define initialize? So if you notice here, all it's asking is root.fullname equals root method, right? That means it's not initializing or starting off. Now if it was saying, and you know what, maybe I should do it like this. So this is essentially what we did. It created a new object, then it used the writer method to write the full name, and then it used the reader method to call it out. Now if I did a like this, that means you're initializing the method. And if you're initializing, yeah, I was right, you're initializing it. So that means you're initializing the full name method as soon as you created a new owner. We are not doing that. So that's why we did it like this. If you want to more explain that, I'll explain it more in a different time. Okay, so we did that. Now we're going to do the same thing with pets. We're going to need, let's make this a little bit more complicated. We're going to need the name of the pet and the type of pet. And then clearly we need the owner, right? So class, pet, and so essentially what we want is, and you know what, I'm gonna make this, I might be kicking myself for doing this, but I am going to actually initialize pet name, pet type. So this is going to, and I'm just doing this so you know this is going to be initialized. We are not initializing the owner. So it's going to look like this. Diana is going to be the name of the pet. So it's going to be pet, not dot new. Her name is Diana. And she is a cat. Okay, we want that to happen. And then, so then when you call Diana, when you call Diana's name, you should get Diana. When you call Diana type, you should immediately get cat. Alright. Her cat. And then, yeah, so let's do that. Here, if you notice, we didn't say equal anywhere. So technically, these are readers. So we could actually do adder underscore reader. and put here name and put here type. And then you could do define initialize, because if you notice here, we are initializing it. And put here name type. And then doing at name equals name, at type equals type. Okay, so this should work. So let's see if this works. All right, great. So we're going to put here Diana and pet new. All right, so if you notice here, it was different from the owner, right? Because we initialized the pet, but we already stated that we've already put Diana as the name data type. So, and as well as cat as saying this completely wrong. We are essentially connecting type to cat. It's already there. Again, if I said this completely wrong, I apologize. So if we look here, oh, sorry, let me try that again. Go there, we call it out, Diana. We call out type for Diana. All right, it works, huzzah. Now we also have here owner, right? So we want this to look like this, that owner equals, let's say Ruth is the owner, so we'll say Ruth. So it's equaling this whole entire owner object. And that if we did .owner .name, then it should say Ruth Messman. So this, if you notice, this is a writer. And if you notice, this is a reader. So, and I'm going to actually put one more step. If we did a Diana.owner, it should have, what it should have here, owner, 0x, there's a and then it should have here at full name equals Ruth Messman. Great. And I should say actually, because that's what we did here. So that's what we're going to do. And I am going to do that. If you notice here, we need a writer and a reader. So you would actually do an adder accessor. And you would do owner. That's it. Well, let's see if that's true. That's it. So if you see here, we're going to first create Ruth the owner. See if this works. Okay, so if you see here, instantiate it. Now, if you notice, it doesn't have my name because we did not actually put a name yet. We haven't created, or we haven't used the full name method yet, or function yet. So, all right, so it's Ruth Messman. Let's see if it works here. Great. If we type in Ruth, you'll see here full name equals Ruth Messman. Great. So then let's create Diana. Diana, remember we initialized it, so it automatically does that because we already put it in once we created a new pet for Diana. I'm not going to test it out, we're just going to soon. Now we need to call out owner. So if you notice, if we typed in Diana.owner, the object Ruth is the same object here, just so you know.